Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. As you guys all know, I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can be more informed. However, though, I tend to talk about the nation as a whole, but every housing market's different though, right? So I actually asked you guys, what cities do you want me to cover in my next housing market update? A lot of you guys asked about an update for Texas. So in today's video, I can give you an update regarding Dallas, Texas, Austin, as well as Houston, Texas, and what's going on with the latest housing markets there. And again, if you guys have requests for future videos, then please leave me a comment below. With that said, let's go ahead and begin today's video. I'm actually going to be looking at Dallas, Texas first. And by the way, I'm going to be adding chapters to this video as well. So if you're not interested in Dallas, Texas, take a look at the chapters there because I'm going to be sharing the timestamps for each of these cities here. So let's first talk about Dallas, Texas, and then we're going to be talking about Austin, Texas, and then Houston as well. So let's first talk about Dallas. So new listings in Dallas, Texas. And by the way, I have not looked at the data yet, so I thought it'd be fun to look at this together for the first time. So new listings in Dallas, Texas. The black line right here is 2022. Blue line's 2019, pre-COVID obviously. And here's 2021. Obviously, I'm excluding 2020 because we had the onset pandemic, stay-home orders, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, let's look at new listings. So new listings are actually down only 3.5% compared to the same time period in 2021. So more or less on par with last year's levels though. But look at this, it's pretty interesting. So in Dallas, for whatever reason, ever since basically June, they've had a decrease of new listings. It has been decreasing for about 5 consecutive weeks now. Okay, let's have a look at active listings, which of course is housing supply. How many houses are listed for sale in Dallas, Texas? Let's take a look at that. So active listings right now are actually up 24.49%, almost up 25% compared to this time period in 2021. So they have approximately almost 14,000 houses for sale in Dallas, Texas right now. And by the way, this is for the 4 weeks ending July 31st of this year. So they have 14,000 houses more or less for sale right now. But this time last year, it was approximately 11,000 houses. But look at this. So they have 13,676 houses for sale right now. But look in 2019 at this time. In 2019 at this time, they had approximately 23,000 houses for sale. So right now there's far fewer houses listed for sale in Dallas compared to 2019. I mean, big differences there. Let's look at pending home sales in Dallas, Texas though. So pending home sale, of course, is when a home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer. Now, for whatever reason, they don't have total pending home sales in Dallas, Texas. This would be the entire population of houses that are in pending status in Dallas, Texas. So they don't have that, but what they do have is pending sales listing updates. This is when they move from an active listings, in other words, the house is for sale, to a pending home sale. In other words, the home seller accepted an offer from a home buyer. So let's look at this. So pending home sales in Dallas, Texas are down 16.2% compared to the same time period last year. This is pretty astonishing because remember, active listings are up almost 25%. So they have 25% more houses for sale in Dallas, Texas, yet pending home sales have decreased 16% over the past 4 weeks. To me, this is showing that home buying demand is decreasing in Dallas, Texas, because even though they have more houses listed for sale, if they had a high amount of home buying demand, you would see more contracts being signed between home buyers and home sellers, right? So let's look at price drops in Dallas, Texas. Price drops is when a home seller drops their asking price in order to attract a home buyer. So look at that. The share right now is 11.2% over the past 4 weeks. That's the average over the past 4 weeks here. 11.2%. Compare this to 2021 at this time. The share was basically 5.2%. So they basically have double the share of price drops in Dallas, Texas right now compared to the same time period in 2021. And again, I believe you have to multiply this by 4 in order to get the share by month. So that would mean that approximately 45% of the houses that are listed for sale in Dallas, Texas have had price reductions. This is quite the turnaround over the past several months though, because look at this. Basically in January all the way until more or less March, the share of price drops was around 2%. Now they're at 11.2%. So a very big turnaround in their housing market there, really ever since April this year, when the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage surpassed 5% for the first time since approximately 2018. And I'm guessing because active listing inventory is increasing and price drops are also increasing, I'm guessing that houses are selling a little bit slower compared to prior years. So let's look at this. So median days on the market. Right now, it takes approximately 20 days to sell a house in Dallas, Texas. This is actually about 2 days more compared to 2021, when at this time it was about 17 and a half days. But houses are still selling much quicker than 2019 though, because at this time in 2019, look at that, it took approximately 39 days to sell a house. Now it's only about 20 days. So let's look at home prices in Dallas, Texas, and then we'll look at Austin, Texas and what's going on there. So here's the median asking price for houses that are listed for sale. So right now the median list price is about $449,000. But look at this, it has actually been decreasing over the past several months though, because more or less the peak was around May 15th when the median asking price was around $467,000. Now it's only $449,000. Let's look at houses that actually have sold though. So houses that actually have sold, look at that, been coming down ever since basically May and June of this year, when the peak was around $465,000. Now it's down to $438,000, a 15% increase year over year. But back in May and June of this year, the increase was around 22 to 23% year over year. So even though home prices in Dallas, Texas have been decelerating, the current rate right now at 15% is obviously much higher than historical speaking, because historically speaking, home prices tend to increase in the range of 3 to 6%. Let's look at 2019 though. So 2019, look at that. In 2019, home prices increased 1% compared to the same time period in 2018. All right, that was the latest trends for the Dallas housing market. But let's have a look at the Austin housing market. So Austin, Texas, let's look at new listings. Take a look at this, because new listings, again, the 2022, this year is the black line here. New listings have been increasing more or less ever since the end of June. But ever since then, new listings have been decreasing. So right now they have approximately the same number of new listings hitting the market compared to 2021. Let's look at active listings though, or housing supply in Austin, Texas. Look at that. It actually has surpassed 2019's levels. And look at that. They have 10,000 active listings right now. Let's look at 2021 at this time. In 2021, they only had 6,503 houses for sale. Now they have 10,000, a 54% increase compared to 2021, and obviously much greater than 2019 as well. So pretty astonishing there that active listings have been absolutely skyrocketing really ever since April of this year. Because look at that, in April, they basically had the same number of houses for sale compared to 2021, but ever since then, skyrocketing. Let's look at pending home sales, because I'm guessing that pendings have been decreasing greatly because active listings have been increasing greatly, yet new listings are on par with last year's levels. So pending home sales, yeah, look at that. So pending home sales are down almost 34% from 2021, and also fewer pending home sales compared to 2019. So a big decrease in contracts being signed in Austin, Texas here. And I'm guessing price drops are also going to be very high as well. Look at that. Wow, absolutely skyrocketing in the last week here. So the share of price drops right now are about 13%. And the share of price drops have basically been skyrocketing ever since April of this year. Because look at this, for the middle of April, the share of price drops was only 2.4%. And back in 2021, the share was 1.5%. So basically it's skyrocketing ever since then at 13%. In 2021, at this time, only 4.8%. So almost 3 times the share of price drops right now compared to the same time period in 2021. And again, on a monthly basis, this equates to over a 50% share of price drops right now for the houses that are listed for sale right now in Austin, Texas. So pretty astonishing, basically going straight up here. Let's look at home prices though. The median asking price right now. So the median asking price is up 14% from 2021. So the median asking price in Austin, Texas right now is approximately $538,000. Let's look at houses that actually have sold though. Again, a lagging indicator. Look at that. The median sold price right now is $518,000, only a 9% increase year over year. But look at this. Back in April and May of this year, we had a 23% increase in the median sold price compared to the same time period in 2021. Pretty crazy. Also, the median sold price was around $565,000. Now it's only $518,000. So obviously, if you're a home buyer in Austin, Texas, this is good news to see that you have more options available to you. And also home prices have been decreasing. But take a look at this, because we really want to look at the broad picture here, the big picture. So even though that home prices have come down from 565,000, take a look at this because right now 518,000 in 2021, it was 475,000. Let's look at 2020 as well. Let's just include that for argument's sake here. In 2020, at this time, the median sold price was only $349,000. Also in 2019, at this time, the median sold price was around $314,000. So basically in a very short period of time, 2 years, the median sold price in Austin, Texas has increased by $169,000. So what I'm getting at is that, yes, it's good news to see that home prices have been decreasing in Austin, Texas, if you are a home buyer. But when you look at the broader picture here, the gains over the past several years, or the past couple of years, have been quite astonishing. Something else that I noticed in Austin, Texas here is that the median days in the market is 32 days. Compare this to 2021, it was approximately 25 days. So houses have been selling slower compared to 2021 and also 2019, more or less ever since the middle of June. Okay, that was the Austin housing market here, but let's have a look at the Houston housing market as well. So new listings are basically on par with last year's levels, only down about 5.4% from 2021. Active listings though, let's take a look at that. Active listings are still well below 2019's levels, so far different compared to Austin, Texas, for example, but still up 15% year over year. So right now they have approximately 23,000 houses for sale, and in 2021, they had approximately 20,000 houses. But look at this, because right now they have just under 23,000 houses for sale, but in 2019, they had 33,000 houses for sale. So a very big difference there in the number of houses for sale in Houston, Texas. So let's look at pending home sales because, again, they have more houses listed for sale compared to 2021. So if home buying demand is still very strong here, pending home sales would have increased, but they actually move in the opposite direction here. Look at that, down almost 23% from the same time period in 2021. And this trend line here has basically been decreasing really ever since the middle of May, when we had about 4% less contracts being signed in Houston, Texas compared to a year ago. All right, so pending home sales are down, active listings are up. Let's look at price drops though. I'm guessing that's gonna be very high as well. Look at that, absolutely skyrocketing at 9.6% right now. Compare this to 2021, the share was about 5.6%. So a little bit less than double the share from 2021 right now. But this current trend line right now is showing no signs of leveling out. It has basically been going straight up over the past several months now. So I'm guessing because Houston, Texas has been seeing a huge share of price drops right now and also a decrease in contracts being signed, I'm guessing that home prices have been faltering as well. Let's look at that. The median asking price right now has more or less been on a downward trend ever since the middle of May, but hasn't decreased greatly though, still up about 12% year over year. But compare that to the middle of May, the median asking price was up about 14.35%. That's home sellers asking prices though. Let's look at home sold prices though. Again, a lagging indicator. Look at that, home prices up 13% compared to last year. At this time last year, home prices were up 14%. And now the median sold price in Houston, Texas is $346,000. The peak was around June and July of this year when the median sold price was $353,000. So it has come down just a little bit. But look at this, because compared to prior years, home prices have been increasing greatly in Houston, Texas, just like these other cities as well. So right now, the median sold price, $346,000. Let's look at 2020 as well. So 2021, it was $308,000. Also in 2020, it was only $271,000. And in 2019, $249,000. Therefore, the median sold price in Houston, Texas has increased about $75,000 over the past couple of years. And here's something I found to be very interesting in their market though, is that houses that are selling very quickly as well. So right now, the median days in the market is around 12 days. This is basically on par with last year's levels because in 2021, it was around 10 days. So houses are still selling very quickly in Houston, Texas, especially compared to 2019, because in 2019, it took approximately 31 to 32 days to sell a house. Now it's only 12 days. So what this is telling me is that houses that are priced right in Houston, Texas are still selling very quickly. But if you overprice your house, or if you have some funky layout or something like that, or bad location or whatever, then houses are sitting in the market and home sellers have to do price reductions in order to attract a home buyer. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you in the next video.